We are the dreamers, watch us rise, building a world before your eyes. Every block, every line of code is a new path, a different road. We are new foxes, wild and free. In our world we plant our tree. No fake talk, just open hearts. Together we build a brand new start. From the cafe's light to a screen so bright, we connect all day and all through the night with no fear and no doubt. The future is ours. We're reaching together for the moon and the stars. We are new foxes, wild and free. In our world we plant our tree. No fake talk, just open hearts. Together we build a brand new start. Foxes don't beg, they build from scars. We shine in the silence, we don't need stars. Code in our blood, a purpose in our tone. Even when lost, we still call it home. Yeah, from the dirt to the chain, we level the scene. While they flex online, we move unseen. We're not noise, we're a signal, sharp and clean. Real ones in code, you know what I mean. Loyal to family, but never to fear. Every loss we face just made the mission clear. We don't need crowns, we print our own name. In hearts, in chains, in every single frame. We are new foxes, eyes on the sky. Never back down, only aim high. No mask, no lie, no fake applause. We build with truth and we bend no laws. Wild and free, from box to the street. Every dream we hold is the ground beneath. A brand new start. With open hearts.
السلام عليكم شباب، كنتمنى تكونوا بخير وعلى خير. مرحبا بكم في أمسية جديدة مع اخوكم يونس القاسمي. كنتمنى تكونوا كلكم ناشطين بخير. ويا ثانك يو برو، شكرا قال لي احسن ستريمر في العالم. الناس ديال انستغرام مرحبا بكم، الناس ديال يوتيوب شكرا على التفاعل ديالكم. المهم اليوم عندنا واحد الكول ولا واحد تويتر سبيس مع واحد صديق ما عرف كاين اللي كيشوفوا كيتويتي بزاف. الناس اللي اكتيف تويتر غيكونوا كيعرفوه، نتوما اللي ماشي اكتيف الناس ديال انستغرام احنا جبنا لكم تويتر حتى عندكم، فهمتي؟ بدا هاد اللعيبه جاب لي خاي بسيط يلاه جاب لي هاد الهديه. شكرا خويا بسيط،
صحه وراحه،
حفظك. كي جاتني الدراري قال لك ناضيه كثر لي بحال هادشي، فهمتوا؟ اللي بغى يجي يزورني يجيب لي معاه شي هديه بحال هكذا، فهمتي؟ المهم اليوم عندنا واحد الكول مع واحد الصديق. نحاول ندخل هنا باش غندخل عنده. كي غنديروا ليها دابا كندير نبارطاجي هذا الكول دابا، نبارطاجيوه بحال هكذا. نشوفوا واش حضر السيد ولا ما حضرش. المهم دراري قلت لكم اليوم عندنا مع السيد، خصنا نهضروا بعدا مع السيد هو الاول، عاد نشوفوا شنو كاين. ويز بلو تشيك ماركس. اوكي خصني نجي لهنا. فين هي الديسكاشن؟ اوكي واش كيبان لكم دابا الدراري؟ واش كيبان لكم دابا؟ هوم اكس كروم. فين هو هذا اللي باغي ندير؟ ياك داير لعب البارسا اليوم. واش بصح حنا مطلعين عليه. اوكي كيبان هذا وراه كيبان. اوكي حتى هذا راه خدام مزيان. نديرو ليه بحال هكذا او كيبان ليهم باش نديرو الكول مع السيد. ستارت listening ما عرفتش راه بدا اللايف ولا لا. شوف دابا خصني نحرك لونجلي يا صاحبي، خصني لونجلي كتهرب ليا، خصني نضرب لونجلي ولونجلي كتهرب ليا. كي غندير ليها مشكله هادي. التي قال لي جات ستارتد. اوكي بسم الله على بركه الله. بلاتي الدري خويا نبان نجيب دو لونجلي حتى لونجلي كتهرب فهمتي. يا الله. التي ask as speaker. هلو عندك الحليب؟ جيت والو. هلو.
Hey, Eunice.
Hey bro, how you doing?
Hey, man, I'm doing good. I'm really looking forward to this. We're gonna have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
We're gonna talk domains and have a good time.
Yeah. Thank you for inviting me first to your space, and you are also my guest. We are right now doing a live stream. There are like 400 people watching, so yeah, it's going to be fun.
Yes, sir. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I just want to say, thanks for doing the collaboration. I've had the pleasure to speak with you over WhatsApp, and it's been a pleasure getting to know you and chit chat about domains and speak about domains. But yeah, this is going to be fun for sure.
Same here. I have some questions for you because a lot of people are watching and want to know you more. So if you want us to do it like that, that would be much better. What do you think?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Okay. I can go straight to questions, or do you have a subject in mind?
We can go with some questions and then break out into some subjects.
Okay. So since people are watching and the live stream will be saved for anyone who want to watch, we are live stream on YouTube, Instagram, and all of my social media right now. So yeah, those are some questions I have gathered myself and from some of my followers. So first question is for you. How did you get started in domain investing, and why did you go specifically with AI themed domains?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I just want to say hello to everybody watching on YouTube and Instagram. Thanks for tuning in. So I got into domains kind of just accidentally. I was working on a microsite project, like think GeoCities, where I had like 10 domains and each was like a microsite dedicated to a specific, widget or purpose or function or information or whatever. Like I had about 10 domains at all .coms, and each domain was like a specific function, right? So you would go to it and it would have like a dedicated widget or dedicated information that would update daily, right? So I kind of started out by just developing these microsites, again, like GeoCities, if anybody remembers GeoCities way back in the day. But then, after having about 10 of these domains, I stumbled upon NamePros, namepros.com. And actually, one of the first threads I stumbled upon was the .now thread on NamePros, and so when I heard about .now, it was relatively new. I mean, it still is new, but then when I heard about .now, my initial impression was like, hey, I like this extension compared to .com. Comparatively, there's a lot of extensions. But that's truly how I got started, was in the .now thread. And then, after that, I was just like, what is NamePros? What is namepros.com? They got all these threads and functions and forms and subsections. And so I'm like, this is a whole world of domain investing that I never even heard of or knew existed, right? I mean, they got like the .si thread, they got the .now thread, they got like the daily registrations or new hand registration threads. I mean, So when I first stumbled onto Name Pros accidentally, that's how I really got into the world of domain investing was, wow, this is a much larger, complicated ecosystem than just registering .coms or domain names, right? Like you can actually invest, so to speak, on quality .coms or quality names, and then buy them and sell them. And I think that was attractive to me because it's kind of like the ownership perspective, or at least you're not owning the domain, you're paying a lease or a subscription on it, right? Like you have to pay the yearly renewal, but to some degree you kind of own it. You're the registrant, you're the owner, corresponding owner of that domain, right? And I found that very like digital real estate, right? I mean, people have houses and homes and apartment complexes and stuff like that, and then they rent them and lease them, and I just translated that to just domains or digital real estate, and they're a global. It's a global phenomenon. It's a global thing.
Wow, you the first one to went from .now to .com.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's just how I got into it was .now, and
Yeah.
I still have some .nows, and I follow that and the developments on .now. But yeah, that's truly how I got into domain investing was .now.
When I first met you, I thought like you launched .tld.now because you were speaking a lot about it. So it seems like maybe this guy launched .tld or something because you were too much into .now.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing what I think about is like bullishness or like just being excited. There's
Yeah.
nothing wrong about being excited about a TLD that you think is good. And
True.
so and I parlay or translate that to a lot of other people in .now is we're just excited about it.
Sure.
We see a vision or a future or adoption, and we're just generally excited about it.
Yeah. And right now you are leading like I think you are the third guy for like keywordai.com. You own one of the best names, agenticai.com. So maybe we can talk a little bit about that. How like what excites you more about this trend like keywordai.com, and do you think it's much better than .ai, keyword.ai? So what's your point about that?
Yeah, no, I think that's a very topical and relevant and good question. Um, like like there's some ultra premium or super good, AIs like quantum.ai that quantum. That's quantum computers, quantum fusion, quantum whatever. Like that's like a holy grail of a domain name, right?
Yeah.
But what I think about with keyword AI or AI keywords is what I think about on the AI keyword or keywordai.com front is you have these micro startups. They might have raised $100,000, $200,000, and they're priced out of oneword.coms they're priced out of oneword.coms and they're priced out of oneword.ais. Well, with the keyword AI or AI keyword.coms, it offers some sort of like intermediary or establishment for a domain name, right? They might call themselves like, autorepairAI.com, right?
Okay.
They could pick that up for a couple thousand or something. So the whole on that front, I think it's just a good intermediary for some of these startups or founders that are less capitalized.
I think
Is how I perceive
yeah.
it.
I myself personally, after like I've been doing SEO for like many years, almost like 10 years now. So from SEO perspective, I believe the keywordai.com has more advantage compared to .ai, not just because .ai is a CTLD. So some people like just focus on like Google, and they forgot like we need to like to work on other like search engine. For example, like yandex.com, bing.com, and imagine like you have generator.ai. So for the crawlers, they are taking the word generator, which can mean a lot of stuff. But when you take generatorAI.com, it goes directly to that kind of subject. So you have more chance on your, like, if you have a SaaS or you have a blog or something like that, it will give you a little bit of advantage, not just for reward, but yeah, it does help a little bit. So that's my what I think about those kind of names.
Yeah, you know, I mean, there's people, I've heard people and talk of people branching out into 2keywordai.com, right? And you know, there's, if you go to name bio or just browse social media, keyword AIs and AI keywords, they sell. Now, what I'm curious about is how long will this trend last? Will it be, is this a short-term trend? Is this going to be an everlasting trend? You know, for the AI keyword or keywordai.coms. But I think for the time being, like I said, this provides, you know, at 5,000 or 10,000, you know, or whatever, you know, it provides some sort of intermediary domain name for these startups that may have just gotten 50,000 or 10,000 or, you know, 100,000 in funding, and they're priced out of dictionaryword.coms and singleword.ais. So that's my take.
Okay. Well, I'm still convinced of like, maybe someone can do like a case study, or we can do it like maybe we buy like a keyword.ai and compare it to a keywordai.com, and we try to put the same like website, same blog or service, and we can try to see how does it help. Because in the end, when an end user or a buyer want to buy an asset like a domain name, mostly they want to help with their business. So either by redirecting or by rebranding. So if we can give them like this kind of perspective, how it can help their own startups, that it's gonna increase the value of this kind of keywordai.com, I believe.
Yeah, that's an interesting topic, because I was doing like a minor case study on keywordai.coms, and I came across like 3 or 4 examples. It was like precisionai.com. It was being used as a redirect. And then cyberai.com was being used as a redirect. And then it was like farmai.com being used as a redirect. And the ones that stuck out the most to me was precisionai.com was a redirect to paloaltonetworks.com. They have like some precision AI product, but they're using precisionai.com as a redirect to their sub landing page on their overall company website, probably, or if I had to speculate, for marketing purposes, right? Instead of going to this long URL or link, just go to Precision AI and it will redirect you to this landing page within our website.
Sure. And also you talked about healthcareai.com in one of your tweets. All right?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just like, you said about precisionai.com, but I remember also healthcareai.com.
Yes, sir. Well, you know, that's kind of like an 800-pound gorilla in the room. I mean, healthcare is where you're at. You know, healthcare is, you know, generally a global thing, and it's $1 trillion global, you know, multi-billion, hundreds of billions, or potentially $1 trillion plus industry. Now, does that translate to the domain name worth? You know, maybe a little bit, but you know, it's one of those categorical domain names, right? Because I think AI is already in healthcare, but AI is only going to advance and accelerate healthcare. But then, you know, healthcare AI or AI healthcare, that I think that's on the horizon in a big way.
I can vote for healthcare being used in AI, because I have been sick for the past week, like 2 months sick, and I used like some doctors, and they give me like some medicine that got me even more sick. And the only way like I got better is by asking ChatGPT about my case, and it's give me the right medicines to use, which which were confirmed by the pharmacist. So yeah, I believe we are doing good in healthcare with AI. Like, I believe in the future is brighter.
Yeah, that your example is an interesting thing because this isn't the first time I've heard about how somebody going to Chat GPT and talking about like they might have a sprained ankle or they might have some ailment or something going on medically or health wise,
Yeah.
and they'll talk to AI and AI will be like, okay, here's what's wrong and here's a couple of potential fixes or solutions. And so, your example, I mean, I'm glad you're doing better and I'm glad, AI was able to help you. But I think it's just one of those anecdotal data points
Yeah.
to show that this is a real thing.
Yeah, true. So yeah, another question. For .ai, we see like a lot of trends. Like recently, like people are going crazy about CVCV.ai. So do you think like what's your take for this kind of trends, especially for these kind of extensions?
Yeah, I was looking at CVCV.ai's maybe a month or so ago, and there were a few that stood out to me. But I checked recently, and I feel like the floor, so to speak. I mean, there's no true floor,
Yeah.
but like the minimum prices have gone up on CVCV.ai's because I was seeing them for like, $2,000, $1,000, 1,500. But then I checked just recently, and I'm like, a lot of these were repriced to like $3,000-4,000. Now I'm not necessarily a CVCV.ai expert. I did pick up one CVCV .ai recently. It's the Portuguese or Spanish word for store or shop. It's LUJA.ai.
Okay.
And yeah, that's the only one I picked up as of late.
Nice one. Loja.ai. That's a nice one.
Yeah, the funny thing is Luja.ai I picked up for $1,000 because and this is simply what I did is I took CVCV.ai's, I plugged them into Chat GPT and I said, does this CVCV.ai translate to another word in a non-English language?
Okay.
And it spit out a few ideas, and Luja just was one that stuck out the most predominantly.
Nice one. What do you think is the market value? Have you tried the narrator with it or something?
Well, so the first thing I think about is, what's the cost or barrier to entry? $1,000. Okay. What's the asymmetric potential upside? It's a word in Portuguese and Spanish, and then it doubles as a CVCV, and then Luja is like a cultural music center of Ecuador.
Okay.
And so I felt like that was one of the more quality ones at those levels. And to me, it was just, worth it from an investment perspective.
Okay. I'm checking now. It's in the narrator. It is about $11,000 market value, which is I don't know if you checked it before or not, but that looks good. So we are talking about 15,000 market value or something like that. Nice one.
Yeah, thank you. And again, that's the thing is, for me, I'm kind of like a value investor, right? There hidden gems, hidden domains for $500, $600, $1,000 that have really good asymmetric upside. And it's just, that's just how I approach things like this.
And I noticed like that you are mostly going to with the private acquisition. So do you prefer like buying like at bin or doing auction, or what is your strategy when you are buying domains?
Yeah, my strategy is, it really depends on the name and the price, but one of my first considerations is, first, can I put this on my credit card, right? And then, obviously pay my credit card off and not rack up debt and bills and interest and stuff like that. But that's one of my first considerations is, can I just hit the bin and put this on my credit card and then pay it off with my checking account at statement close? So because because what's the alternative, right? I could have made an offer on Luja.ai, and this has happened to me with names, is where I'll submit offers and then the owner will double or triple the price after negotiations.
Okay.
And the alternative is it has fast transfer enabled. You hit the bin and it's in your account. Like, what's the opportunity cost, right? That's what my approach is. What's the opportunity cost and negotiation? Because I could have got Luja.ai for $500-$600 if I made an offer, but the opportunity cost is this guy could have raised his price, right? So taking that into account with like asymmetric upside, in my opinion, it just made sense to me to hit the bin. So yeah, I hope that answers your question and it gives thought process. Elaborates on my thought process.
Yeah, I understand, but like, why on credit? Why like not in doing in plans, like paying monthly until you own it or something like that? You can't increase the price, and you don't have to risk your credits or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. For that name, I just didn't make sense to me to do an LTO or a monthly plan. There are some names that I have done monthly plans on, but in the context of that name specifically, I was just like, let's get it one and done kind of thing.
Okay. Congrats. It's a nice name. So.
Yeah, thank you.
And for selling, since I don't know if you are into selling, you are more into getting more names, as I see. But have you tried outbounding before, and or do you prefer inbound, or what is your strategy when you are trying to sell your domains?
Yeah, so I recently got into outbounding using Instantly.ai. They're like an AI, what I like about them is you can source leads through them, you can send emails through them, and then they have some AI components. So I got into outbounding maybe 2.5, 3 weeks ago, and I haven't had any interest or sales through outbounding, but again, maybe maybe I'm sending to the wrong emails or I have the wrong people in mind. But that is something I have started exploring recently.
What is your plan on acquiring like users, like the emails that you are going to reach out?
Yeah, so
sorry, I asked too many questions, but people are watching, so I'm trying to keep it like so they can learn at least something.
Yeah, no, it's okay. I'm happy to share. Again, with the whole like lead capturing, lead generation, lead sourcing, that's what I like about Instantly.ai is you have tokens, you have credits, and then they have like a lead database of publicly available emails, or they have like APIs or connections into public databases or other resources, and then you just say, okay, I have 50 credits, that's going to get me 100 leads, and then it just imports those leads depending upon your filters and preferences, and then that automatically ties into the outbounding via cold email.
Okay, I will just stream it here for the guys to see the website we are talking about. So it's this one. This is the website. You can find contacts, close your ideal clients. I was working on something like this, not exactly this, but a little bit similar. Let me go back. Yeah. My idea was like to build, because I don't do outbound. I tried it like 10 years ago or something, and someone said, stop spamming me, and I stopped it because I don't accept rejection, so I stopped it. But recently I was in talk with my friend Ayub, and he was telling me about like doing outbound. For me, I have been like an inbound guy. I only sell when I feel like selling. And after talking, I thought, okay, I like to build toys. I have been into AI since 2019 when I was building the generator. And the idea was like, you give me a domain name. We have like an agent we build that can talk like as a salesperson, and he will try to close the deal. And when you give us the domain, we try to fetch, because we also do that when we are working with the giving valuation for domains using the generator. So as I explained to you before, and also explained when during many events, the way we are doing the generator differently, that instead of focusing on like previous sales, we try to focus on who will be interested on these kind of keywords and these kind of domains. So we try to fetch like some companies who may be interested. So yeah, that's how we give like a little bit of market value compared to others. So we will take the same approach, but this time we will try to get like the contacts of those companies, and even more, a little bit like even their competitors. And we will try to reach out to them using the agent. And when we close the deal, when you are in that state of closing the deal, then you will get a notification to your Telegram or WhatsApp that you need to come in. There is a lead waiting for you to close it. So you can give your preferred payment like Afternic or Atom or whatever you want. So yeah, I have been working on this, but I got a little bit sick recently, but I believe like it's an interesting thing to do, especially that we have all the tools and all the models available right now. When I was building the generator, there was nothing available. You have to build your own stuff by yourself. But right now it's much easier, I think. So yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing is, if you can have, these AI agents outbounding for you 24/7, or at least on some automatic schedule. I mean, these AI agents could go out and source leads or do market research or market analysis and automate it, and then all you do is send the GoDaddy, Afternic, or checkout link, and you're just chilling on the beach or just hanging out,
Yeah.
But that's the power of, that's the coming power and present power of AI agents and these automations is, you'll have these routine computer tasks and you'll just have an AI agent. And so the efficiency gains, or, the efficiency, you can be doing other things, so to speak.
Sure. I believe we can do it. It's something that can be done if people are doing it manually, and most of people are having either problem on negotiation skills, which can be solved with all the LLM models we have right now that can talk better than any salesperson ever, especially if you can fine tune it. So that's one of the problems that LLMs can solve. And the second problem is how to do to send emails. Most of people like have problems on getting their emails delivered because they don't know what tools to use, what platforms to use, or how to even do email marketing. I've been doing that like for years also, so I know the right way to do it, and I think that's the stuff that can be done. And yeah, and for sure you need to have a good names if you want to sell it. You can't sell like a domain that doesn't have any like market interest. I keep seeing the market interest because that's a subject I hope like other companies can work on. Like some names have market value, like, and some names don't. So, and people like tend not to know the difference. Some people like just buy a random domain and keep asking how can they sell it, and the answer is maybe you will never sell it. Maybe you just need to drop it, and that's the harsh truth. And there are some domains that are liquid, that have the asset that have like a minimum value for each investor, and we have like the market value for some domains. So I don't know if you think the same regarding this.
Yeah, it really, for me, in my approach and strategy is it really depends on the name. That's the first obvious thing. Is it, like, let's just, for example, agenticai.com. I mean, that's a categorical overarching name of AI agents, right? But the thing is with that name is the perception or value of it really depends, and this is just my opinion, is the value of that name is subjective or depending upon the company that is interested in that domain. Because again, they may use it as a redirect, they may use it as an actual built out company. And the thing is with like agenticai.com is, agentic AI, it's not necessarily a brandable. It's not like, I don't perceive it as a brandable, at least, but perhaps somebody else could perceive it as, we're going to brand our company as agentic AI and have the .com. And they may perceive the value or the inherent value or the supposed value of that domain way differently than, somebody like NVIDIA. NVIDIA, the 800-pound AI gorilla, they may not even need or want it, but there might be, another large enterprise that is on agentic AI, and they can see utilization for that domain name, and it's for some, again, for what is it your domain worth? It's just one of those things is. It depends like on the perception, like we have tools out there, including yours, that gives you an idea. Again, it's just, you can't, it gives you ideas. It's just, again, there's some angle of perception that plays in. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense, but like what I'm trying to explain is that like each domain is unique. We believe that like it's like a unique asset. There is only one domain ever, like you can't duplicate it, especially with ICANN, like each domain like redirect to one IP address. So we believe like it's a unique asset, but in the same time, each investor here, if I show you a list of domains, most of us here will try like 50% or 60%, we will know some of domains are ugly, are not worth it, and some people worth it, and some names are like good. So if we can do that in a bigger scale, which means like when you find some names have market interest. Like we are not talking about one interested person, because if you have a domain, I always say it, you can list it for whatever price you want. You can put it for $1 million. Maybe one rich guy will come and buy it, but it doesn't mean that the market value of that name. So if we can focus like knowing what is the market value for each names, I believe good idea with all like their data can do that much better with what we have been trying to do in the past 6 years. But I believe if we can go in that direction instead of focusing on previously sold names and comparable sales, it will give like more. We will advance more in this field, like as a domain investors. I don't know if you get my idea, but that's what I'm trying to explain.
Yeah, no, I get your idea, and that's one of the many conversations I have with ChatGPT or Grok or whatever. Is I'll be talking about a hypothetical domain or whatever, but for fun and just to see what the AI LLM says, I'll be like, okay, now forget about comparable sales. Do not incorporate comparable sales, and then give me your feedback on this domain, approximate value or market interest or things like that. Because I mean, if you look at name bio, a lot of that, from my interpretation, is just not retail.
Yeah.
And it's also not every reported sale. I mean, they have maybe what 5 to 15%, if that, of reported sales. But there's a lot of domains being bought and sold that aren't reported to name bio. And so again, yeah, you know, the whole thing about comparable sales, I do talk to AI or Chat GPT about that on occasion.
Uh, Imagine if we didn't have ChatGPT, were what will be your strategy?
Oh man, you know, that's a tough question because I talk to AI practically every day about domains or concepts or, you know, being in the trenches, right? And just
Yeah.
digging into the weeds and finding gems or obscure ones. And what I do without it, I don't know. I think it's a really powerful tool for us, you know, not only for everybody, but for domain investors as well.
We need like even like Ishmael I see is here. Hello, Ismail. I believe he also started when we have ChatGPT. So we need to talk like some people that never use ChatGPT when buying domains. So some old guys here like us who never used it. But yeah, it was a little bit challenging. Like you have to figure out what to do. For me, I as I said, like I started domain in 2015. I have been like I used like Dan forum a little bit at that time. There is also like Nimpros, and there was no community like that you can talk to. People like didn't understand these concepts at that time. Like I had to put a lot of effort to try to onboard even my friends. So and then later we want like bigger, and right now we have also a Ayub onboarding from like people from other end like the Arab world. So yeah, at that time like I figured out for me it didn't even make sense for me to work on the comparable sales. A lot of people were using it, but mostly I figured out like it was just a way for investors to drop their names on other investors. So some people were buying just on the hope like to sell a domain for similar to what another investor did. It didn't make sense for me in the end users. That's why I started working on these kind of trying to understand the market interest. So all I did, it's not like I did like something crazy, but all I did is that I just searched companies, how much money they are making, and see if they are willing to spend any money this year for the next 6 months or something. And I try to analyze a lot of companies for a specific keyword. I spend like at that time I had to do like manually, so I had to spend like few months doing that. And in the end, I came up with the first version of the generator, and I was able to give like kind of good market value pricing, which helped me not in selling. As I said, like you can sell even with make offer. The selling is not the problem. The problem is the buying when you want to buy. That's my like one of my biggest goals is that to build something that can help people buy, because I don't want people to overspend. So the whole point was how do I know which domain to buy? What is the market value of this name? Like we don't have something like that. When you want to buy a house, you go and ask the neighbors, ask people, say like what is the market value of this kind of real estate. But we don't have that in domain names. You just say comparable sales, which for me, as I said, that didn't make sense. So all I did like if we have like companies interested, how many of those companies can and are willing to buy this domain name? And yeah, it made sense. And when you get the market value, then you can decide how much do you want to spend. For me, as I tell my followers and friends who are watching us right now, like spend 5% or 10% max from the market value, because you don't want to overspend, and you need to buy many domains to have a good portfolio. And mostly if you even get better in pricing your domains, you will still maybe sell 3 to 5% of your portfolio per year. So try to not spend more than 5 to 10% when you are buying. And I believe we did help a lot of people to have this kind of knowledge. We try to keep it as cheap as possible, just to help people, because we didn't have that opportunity. We were overspending. I bought some ugly names for higher prices when I was starting. I dropped like 90% of my portfolio each year while learning. So I believe doing this kind of tools. That's why I also like your approach when we first talked, is that you are a guy who try to build stuff, which I really appreciate. And I think after that day we become good friends, because we have the same thinking. And yeah, I hope you understand what I'm trying to pitch here.
Yeah. Well, so there's two things. Is the first thing about the AI and domain names is it's kind of a cautionary tale, right? Because my experience in talking to like Gemini or ChatGPT about domains is they tend to be like a yes man.
Yeah.
The AI will be a yes man, like, yes, this is a good idea, yes, you should buy it, or you're an expert. But really, what I like to do is challenge the AI, right? So I'll just tell AI, give me the counter thesis, play devil's advocate. Are there things that I'm not asking? Are there unknowns? Are there things I'm not considering? So as much as AI is a great and powerful tool for a multitude of things, it's just for the context of domain names, they're very illiquid, generally speaking, and that's the thing is, when I'm talking to AI about domains, I'll be like, take a level-headed, neutral approach, try to be relatively factual, play a little bit of devil's advocate, and then give me the counter thesis. And then I'll see what it says. And then Ishmael has talked about this, is sometimes you should just flat out ask ChatGPT or Grok, roast my domain name. Just ask it to roast it and then see what it says. And then, you can either determine, okay, this is an investment I want to hold, or this is an investment I want to buy, or it's all relative because I can't make the individual decisions for people. But my point is, with this subject is, you have to, as much as AI may be a yes man and say, oh, you're an expert and this is a phenomenal, undervalued, great idea, is my point is challenge it a little bit, give it the counter thesis, the downside risk. It's an illiquid asset. It may take years to find a buyer, or a buyer may never come along, and you have this domain. You can maybe wholesale it, take a loss, or find somebody else who'd be willing to buy it for $100 or whatever, depending upon the name. And the other thing is you had a second point. It was AI, and then it's gonna come back to me. It was about AI. I forgot. I lost my train of thought. There was 2 points I wanted to hit on, but I forgot it. But that's my main thing on the AI front.
Have you ever founded like a domain while doing this kind of analysis with ChatGPT? Maybe a domain name, a good name, and you found it because ChatGPT told you it's not a good name, and then you regret not buying it.
Have I? Yeah, I mean, of course I have regrets or purchases I wish I never made or picked up or hand registered .coms.
I mean the opposite, like a domain that ChatGPT told you it's not good, but you found out it's a good name later. Have that ever happened to you?
Oh, well, that's the thing is, what I try to do is, like that we had Harrison with Domain Grid, who sold meditative.ai for like 25 grand, and he picked it up at Namecheap auctions for like $600, $1,200.
Okay.
Well, when he got that name, he was a visionary, right? He bought that name and immediately thought, I see this being picked up by like a meditation app. Now, again, that's the thing is, you may be a visionary with this name, but it doesn't mean that buyer will ever come along. But my point, I guess the point I'm trying to make is I try to use, I try to take somewhat of I don't want to say factual approach, but like one thing I'll do is when I'm studying domain names or thinking of domain names, I'll be like, is this term or keyword, what how often is it used in research papers or literature or like deep in the weeds, right? Like, you know, one of the things I think about, I've thought about this quite a bit recently, is think of like agentic, right? The agentic future, AI agents, right?
Okay.
Well, think about agentics.com or agentic.com. 3 or 4 years ago, you could have picked it up for maybe $5,000 and it was a relatively unknown term. But now fast forward to a couple years and agentic and agents are the thing. So my point being is I try to, what's my time horizon? How long, what's the percentage chance that this term or keyword may be popularized amongst culture or social media? And then I'll kind of like, I'll tell the AI, okay, how frequently is this keyword used in like research papers, right?
Yeah.
And then what's the future look like? Is this going to be an evolution of this healthcare or like this niche that I'm researching? And again, you know, that's the thing, it's speculative, right? Because you might pick up the keyword.com or couple keywords for hand registers or maybe $500. And that keyword may never come to fruition, or that keyword may never happen or become popularized. But again, I think as much as you can, you know, it's speculative, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you know, $500, people will spend that on car parts or something. I don't know. That's
same thing like vibe coding. It wasn't a term until recently, so right now you can see like the vibe around vibe coding. So I believe there is a sale like vibecoding.com, right? Just 2 days ago.
Yeah, vibecoding.com was picked up by Dharmesh out of HubSpot for 6 figures is what I saw.
Wow. So yeah, you could bought that name like 2 years ago for like for hand rage maybe, because it wasn't a term at all.
Well, yeah, that's kind of my argument is, you know, there is speculation involved. There's a difference between an educated guess or an educated informed decision and then pure gambling and speculation. I try to make educated, qualified guesses, relatively speaking, to my risk level, right? And everybody has different risk levels. I can't make decisions for you. And again, it's the word is risk tolerance. What's your risk tolerance, right? You could have picked up agentic.com, you know, 4 years ago for maybe 10 grand or 5 grand, but you know, that person's risk tolerance, you know, might have been way different than mine. They might have said, okay, this is a risk or an educated decision I'm willing to take. And now look, agentic.com, I mean, that's a pretty sweet domain name.
Yeah.
And so that's just my conceptual approach to this business or domain investing.
I have two controversial questions. One is, can a group of people build that trend? Like we saw that in memes and also in crypto, like a group of Reddit guys can build a trend. So can that be done, or have it be done before in domain investing, like to hype something or to create a trend for some specific words? And second question, after you answer, I will go to the second question.
Yeah, whether it's about creating a trend, it's I don't think a single person alone can create a trend. What I like to do is look at like the hive mind on X, right? Like I'll go to X Radar, and if you have like X Premium or Premium Plus or whatever, you have X Radar. And Michael was talking about this recently about the keyword AI my versus the keyword my AI. And so I don't think one person alone can create a trend. I mean, I'm open to being wrong, but my approach is I like to look at the collective consciousness on X Radar, so to speak.
As I said, I don't know about domain investing if it has been done before or not, but for other industries, I have seen it, like only group of people like doing trends, just using TikTok videos, maybe using Reddit thread, like being moderators and stuff like that, and also 4chan. And there are a lot of, if you just search it a little bit, you will find like many like small group of people can create trends for their specific goals. I don't know if it's being done for domain investing or not, but it's a thing. So yeah, my second question
Well,
is okay. Sorry.
So, yeah, well, the thing is like if you go to urbandictionary.com,
Yeah.
new slang words pop up there all the time. I'm not saying you should go register the .com,
Yeah.
but imagine 10, 15 years ago, you heard the word dank meme, right?
Yeah.
And nobody knew what a dank meme was. Well, now, generally speaking, people know what a dank meme is or what a meme is. And so, I don't know. Go ahead. What's your second question?
Yeah. Okay. Second question is about like one thing I have been like seeing a lot, and I just want to ask about this is you own some names, and maybe they are not getting sold at all, and the minute it got expired, it's getting sold in auction for like big prices. So I still don't understand how does this work. Like domains are installed for years, then they put in auction after they got expired, and people are like running to buy them. So
yeah,
your
guess. I mean, I have some opinions, and I'll elaborate, but we see that all the time. You, me, anybody who's been in domain investing in this room for even a month has seen that.
Yeah.
And the thing is like I've talked about this. Like I've picked up keyword AIs relatively to me pretty cheap. But my gut instinct is if these keyword AI.coms went to GoDaddy auction, they would fetch multiples of what I picked them up for at the bin. Now, if I had to extrapolate or if I had to go a little deeper into that, I think the thing is people like you'll see a really decent keyword AI for, let's just say $1,000 on GoDaddy Afternic. Well, there's a little bit of buyer hesitation if I had to mentalize or get into the mind of some of these people. I mean, it's kind of like, okay, I could buy it now for $1,000, or I could wait to let it expire. So maybe there's some hesitancy, right? Maybe there's a little hesitation or caution there. Whereas if you go to auction, right, people's competitive nature kick in. It's like, hey, it's me and this one guy bidding against this .com. And, like people's egos get involved, right? Like, hey, I just want to beat this guy at auction to just to win it. That's just my educated guess, if that makes sense.
I have the same guess. I guess it's a mix between like people don't know, as I said, we go back to the market value. People don't know if a domain is good or not. So when you go and you find that domain with the buy now price for 4,000, and maybe you are new, maybe you are a good investor, but you don't know if it's right or not. But when you see it in auction and you see like 5 people competing on it, and then it gives you the confirmation that this is something. And plus a mix of fake bidding in a lot of platforms. They have been trying to avoid fake bidding for so long, but no platform is safe from that. So when you have fake platform increasing the price in the last minute, and you have the confirmation as the interested buyer, so just mix like 2 or 4 interested buyers plus a little bit of bots, like fake bots trying to hurt the platform, or some shady platform doing it. And when you have that mixed, it gives you those crazy prices in the auction, I believe.
Yeah, no, I think those are things I haven't necessarily considered or thought about. But again, it could be an end user bidding on that auction, right? And if you get if you beat the end user, they may have to repurchase that domain from you 6 months, 2 years down the road from you at multiples. It's just but I think on the whole, I think that's a good point you made, is when you're at auction on GoDaddy and you got like 2 to 5 bidders or people bidding, that tells you there's interest, right?
Yeah,
Whereas if a name is sitting on the market on GoDaddy or Afternic, you don't know. I mean, GoDaddy now shows you how many searches this domain has had in the last year, which is relatively useful. But again, people might have hesitated, or perhaps they want this .com, right? That maybe they want this .com, but they have to go through approval process and purchasing process and meet with the CEO or CFO and the marketing team, and whereas if you're just a solo domain investor where you don't have to answer to a board, you can just buy it and then I don't want to say front run because that's not the right word, but people may have had interest in that name and you bought it before them. I'm not saying you should go out and buy every name in the book because that's not responsible. But again, that to me, it's like a psychology perspective. Is my take on that.
True. Yeah, I think we have like covered most of the questions that I had here. I don't know if you have someone who want to come as a speaker. But I still have like 10 minutes for for this live stream. So yeah.
Yeah, probably I'll keep my X space open after you get off. I mean, I'll keep my X space rolling. Okay. We got a lot of familiar faces in here, a lot of talkers, a lot of cool people and solid people. So yeah, I'll keep my space rolling after you get off. But I just want to say thanks for doing this. Just to chit chat and talk domains and get some of your insights into DN Raider about your perspective on how you place the market value, right? Oh, I remember my second point now is you might have like the thing is I've been talking to AI about this recently is you might be looking at like a oneword.com, right? Or you might be looking at a pretty good two-word.com. Well, the thing is as an investor, you're typically looking to buy low and sell high, duh. Okay. But the thing is what I've been talking to AI about is like marketing budgets, right? So let's say a company, it's a small to medium-sized business, they're decently funded, they have $100,000 marketing budget for the year. Well, what percentage of that realistically would they be willing to spend on their exactmatch.com, or would they be willing to spend on this domain name, right? Yeah. They might have $100,000 in marketing or R&D, but that doesn't mean they're going to allocate all of that capital or budget to a domain. They might say 4%, $4,000 of this $100,000 might go to discretionary expenses like a domain name, right? And again, I guess the thing is, I mean, AI is obviously hot right now, but there's pharmaceuticals, there's healthcare, there's insurance, there's lawyers, there's automotive and cars, and those are big industries, and it depends upon your moonshot or ideal end user or potential set of end users. But again, when I've been talking to AI, it's been really educational because some of these statistics about marketing budgets and allocation of marketing budgets are public, or at least you can make an educated guess on, right? Yeah. And with AI being, billion, I mean, it's a $1 trillion industry, but there's been multitudes of billions of dollars being poured into it from a VCs and investment perspective, and you might have a startup that got $1 million in funding, but all they can do is, they got $1 million in funding, they need a domain name, but only 10,000 of that million is allocated to a domain name. So they now have to go look at IO or XYZ or .coms, or my point being is, just because these startups and these businesses have a lot of money or budgets doesn't mean they're going to spend the entire budget on a domain name. Sure. And that's what I've been talking to AI as of late.
Yeah, I believe like that's a thing that can be solved. I have been talking about like AI a lot to my audience, and I believe like you need to know how it works. Okay. For example, when you are talking with ChatGPT or any like LLM model, you need to know like the the pivoted moment in the AI was the research paper by Google. It's called "Attention is all you need," which means when you give it a lot data, how the LLM is trying to understand it. Okay, which means the LLM is not something you need to take for giving you information. It's not like Google. It's something you have to use by giving data to treat it for you. So, for example, for this problem you said you want to know how much percentage. When you have, for example, use any API to have access to companies and their revenue, and try to do like 6-month analysis or 1-year analysis and see how much these companies spend on the recent purchase of their domain names and how much these companies spend. And mostly they have like each year or each 6 months they have a similar percentage, each percentage, like 8% or 5% or something 11%. And it seems like they have like when I read the data, it's more likely they have like a WhatsApp group. They are doing similar. I don't know if it's something from the Y Combinator or something. I don't know, but they mostly go in group when you try to learn the data. So it will help you like to decide what to do, and you can keep your analysis up to date. So just like data is king. That's what I'm saying. And you should use, for example, when you are talking with ChatGPT, try to give it as much data as possible. Like just throw data, and when you have your first first conversation with ChatGPT, just keep memory on, like always enabled, so you can use the information. A lot of people confuse it and they are doing it like disable, thinking they don't want their data to be stolen. But I'm telling you, your data is being used either way, so better to use it as well. So try to keep it on, try to give it as much as data as possible for your specific business, and then you use the AI the way you want. It will be your own partner, your own self. As I'm seeing during all my live streams, we as humans are getting stupider with time, especially with the short content. We are losing IQ each year. So it's better to have a duplicate of yourself as ChatGPT. Try to decide which one you want, but mostly ChatGPT is good at this kind of stuff, and try to put it, and it will help you, it will complete you in the future. As I said, we will lose half of our IQ, we will be more stupid in the future. And I believe if you don't have your own good AI partner to help you with that, you won't be the same anymore. So just try to give data as much possible. So data is king. That's why Google is winning this AI war. And you should do the same. Try to find data. If you are talking about companies, get companies' data. Like, don't like take ChatGPT word. Like, try to figure out how can I get data about this company? How can I get data about this company? And just through it to ChatGPT or whatever AI companion you prefer to use. And with time, you will find that you are getting better suggestions, better advices, and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, that's the thing with publicly traded companies. They have like what, K9s or whatever. They got, these public filing forms, and that might be more of a moonshot targeting like a S&P 500 or a global conglomerate. But yeah, no, I think on the whole, data is king, and it's the context window, right? Like if I go to ChatGPT and just give it a domain, it's going to say XYZ. But it's not that I'm saying I like to take an atypical approach, but I think it fits into the context of the domain. Is it Is it a category defining domain? Is it a brandable, comparable sales, no comparable sales? What's the search volume, the CPC? I mean, there's a lot of contextual information you can give a domain. And then again, that's the thing is you might have like, HoustonLawyersNearMe.com, but again, you might get like 100,000 searches a month, but that doesn't mean from a buyer psychology or a buyer perspective, it might be worth 5,000, but who's actually willing to put up that money for Houston Lawyers Near Me when you're targeting or having end users like that in mind? Anyways, do you have to go, Eunice? We may be at time.
No worries. I'm waiting for Ishmael to come and give us his point of view. I don't know if he's on or anyone who is interested to ask something. We still have a little bit of time. And thank you so much for the opportunity. By the way, it's a great pleasure to talk with you.
Yeah, no worries, man. I guess if people, there was a couple of requests and I denied them because I wasn't sure if we were at that time.
No.
But yeah, we'll open the floor, open the stage if people want to come on up and ask questions or have anything of topical relevance. Sorry, what'd you say?
No, I'm just like thanking guys in the live stream. So this time I leave the chat like they are talking with themselves. A lot of people are asking, can we talk about Web3 domains? Can we talk about AGI? So yeah. I also have
AGI.
Yeah. What do you think? Also, I have a question. What registrar are you using right now?
Yeah, so I'm a spaceship and GoDaddy kind of guy, I guess, with that name cheap. I like Spaceship for like cheap hand registers, or at least it's like Spaceship is like $8.88 USD for a .com hand register.
Okay.
If you don't have GoDaddy discount domain club or whatever, it's like what, 15 to 20. But if you have DDC, it's like 10. And so for hand registers, I generally like Spaceship. For aftermarket purchases or auctions, I like GoDaddy. And the reason for GoDaddy is because in your GoDaddy portfolio, if you enable the right columns, it will show you the search traffic, like the exact matched searches for that domain name in the corresponding in the corresponding column, right? So you might have like agenticagi.com in your GoDaddy portfolio, and we'll say, here's the last 30, 90, and 365 day searches. I hand registered a .com yesterday because it was trending on Twitter or X super late at night, and it's already got like 10 exact match searches on GoDaddy. Okay. And I think that's like useful information, is because are people actually searching for it? And again, the thing and I've talked to AI about this, is it's helpful data, but it's not the definitive answer, because you might have like an obscure oneword.com, right, with only 10 searches. Well, I'm not saying those 10 searches are qualified leads, but if it's like some really obscure medical word, for example, and 10 searches, that means there's 10 nerds or 10 obscure, 10 specific people searching for that .com. So I'm not saying, 10 searches is bad or good. It's really subjected on the domain name, but on the whole, the GoDaddy, so to speak, search volume or searches in their portfolio, I find somewhat relative and useful.
Okay, I can't say anything. I have a big neon sign as being sponsored with Unstoppable Domains, so I can only vouch for Unstoppable Domains. I have like a little bit of disagreement with GoDaddy and Namecheap as well, because as someone who creates multiple websites, I lost some good domains because of trademark or DMCA, even if it's not, but you lose the domain before they even give you the chance to fight it. So that's why I moved to Porkban, and now I moved to Unstoppable Domains, not like especially that we are trying to educate our audience about the the power of Web3 domains. So that was, I guess, Unstoppable Domains right now is the only market where you can like combine the Web 2 and Web 3 domains. So it makes sense right now for education purposes, especially for the audience, since so it won't be confusing. And also they are giving us $4.com domains each Friday, which is really good. If you use the enumerator, the enumerator to 2025, something like that, for while buying. So yeah, they are being nice to us as, as domain investors. I guess Shimeli is also like I guess agreeing with me in this, but yeah, I'm the same picture.
Yeah, well, I mean, $5 Fridays on Unstoppable Domains, that's like unmatched. And then some people have it where you can get like $5.coms any day of the week if you're part of their domain club or whatever. And that's unmatched, you know? I mean, you know, you can throw 10 darts at the wall for $50. I mean, one of them might hit and you might recuperate your $50 or your capital. But yeah, no, I have domains at Unstoppable. It's just yeah. That's my those Spaceship and GoDaddy at the moment. But yeah, that $5 Friday is unmatched.
That's good. That's good. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for this space. I hope we can do more of this. Sorry for too many questions. Yeah, we forgot about the Web3 domain question by one of my followers. He said like, what's your opinion about Web3 domains? Have you have any anything like before Web3 domains?
Yeah, you know, the first thing is I'm not a Web3 expert. I mean, I know there's like the 10K club, there's .eth, there's .sol, there's even emoji SLDs on .eth, and there's like the 10K club and but you know, on the whole Web3 front is over at Freename, I purchased the .lucky TLD at Freename, and then I minted a few SLDs on the .lucky extension. I haven't particularly promoted it or talked about it much, but I figured, yeah, you know, it's just one of those things I need to read up on and educate myself a little bit more.
Okay.
I know the gist of it, right? Like instead of, hey, you know, here's my long wallet address, just send it to brad.eth, right? So I get that concept, and then you can obviously with like IPFO or whatever, there's a DNS resolver on the Brave browser.
Yeah.
It's just you know, I'm not particularly a you know, expert, or I'm not even a Web 2 expert, to put it at that. But again, my education on Web 3, I could probably step that up a little bit.
Okay, but I believe you will like it. Like imagine like building a website where you don't have to pay renewal fees and you don't have to pay for hosting, and it's underground. So even like imagine you build a tool and you want your friends to use it, you can like host it on IPFS and give the domain like you own it forever, and people can use your tool anywhere in the world like for free, and you don't have to spend any money. I believe that's a huge concept to, especially like it's an alternative to the deep web. You don't have to go into the deep web, and which in many countries is illegal. So I believe like trying to understand the Web3 and the websites built in Web3 is an interesting subject that I believe it will have its own future.
Well, yeah, you know, I mean, that gets into tokenization of, and then like AI agents, and you know, I mean, that's, you know, Web3 is, you know, it's a whole separate ecosystem from Web 2. It's just something I'm not educated on necessarily. We got Handreg Steve, Handreg Steve, geez man, Handreg King on the stage. He may have a question for you or I. Handreg King, you're on the hot seat. What's up, sir?
Maybe you just click the speaker by mistake.
Yeah, yeah, I don't know. I mean, he might be having mic issues or
Yeah.
something. But yeah, those are my thoughts on Web3. Again, it's just one of those things.
Do you have any?
You just gotta
Do you
read
have
up
any
on.
question for me before I go? Do you have any question you have in mind?
Um,
I know you are the only one who did like a huge analysis using the narrator. So I know
yeah,
like you were the first one to do it like that in that scale.
yeah. For those that aren't context aware, Eunice with DN Raider and I kind of partnered up on a little research project. I took 120,000 single word .coms, plural, ing, past tense, present tense, future tense, dictionary word .coms
Yeah.
and their variations, and there was 120,000 of them that I ran through DN Raider's API, and it's just a little research project, a little fun research project. Again, data.
But I like the graph that you were trying to show me. It what did you get from the graph? What did you get? Like how does it
Well,
work?
the graph, I believe I sent it to you. It's like an exponential curve, right?
Yeah.
But there's a lot of meat in the middle. What I'm saying is the top 1% of the graph is probably out of reach. They're probably in developed, they're in use, they're redirects, they're locked up. I mean, some people say domains aren't locked up, but they might be an established company, and the only way to get that .com is you have to buy out the entire company.
Yeah.
Anyways, what stuck out to me in that chart or graph is there's a lot of opportunity and meat in the middle, right? And again, there's been conversations on X recently about like the super elite, the one word .coms like Atlas,
Yeah.
ATLAS.com. I mean, that's over at Mark Monitor. I mean, Atlas, that's like that's a grail name. But what people don't think about is like the other 99.99%, average people needing .coms or domain names, and right. And so what really stuck out to me in that visual representation of the appraisals or the estimates, the recommended bins, was like the meat in the middle, the opportunity in the middle, where, let's just take, for example, you have a DN Raider appraised domain at $40,000, but you go look it up on GoDaddy and it might be $1,000. I mean, you might have to, it may not sell right away at 40,000. My point being is looking for opportunity where people aren't looking, and then looking at the middle, the meat in the middle is what I took away from that.
I like that. I like the way you see stuff. I like that you always, when you are buying a domain, last time we discussed it, that you think of it as a website. That one of them that I like, and I also try to pitch to people, if you want to buy a domain, try to think why will someone buy it from you, and how can it be used. And I believe you are doing the same. A lot of stuff you are even developing them and try to make something out of it, which is really nice.
Yeah. It's just, I mean, what a .com could be like, 68 characters. I mean, with 68 characters, and when you factor in numbers and letters, I mean, there's technically a permutation, right? I mean, there's technically a definitive number, but practically to humans, it's basically infinite, But that's the thing is, I think if you, look for opportunity, or your niche, right?
Yeah.
Like you might be a geo expert, like Bruce, and you might hit up all of Texas for lawyers who need a .com, their exactmatch.com. Or you might be, hey, I'm going to speculate on speculate, or I should say invest in keyword AIs, or instead of lawyers, I'm going to think of doctors, right?
Yeah.
And that's the thing I think about with domain investing is there's opportunity. It's just you have to pick your strategy. You got to I don't want to say stay in your lane, but I just think there's opportunity. I just think there's opportunity
Yeah.
there.
Well, thank you so much, Aaron, for inviting us. Everyone is happy with this call in the chat. So yeah,
Good.
Yeah, I hope we can do more of this whenever you have time. Okay.
Yeah, well, I just want to, sorry for not showing my face. It's just I like to do X spaces. I just like the X space format.
Good.
So I just want to say hi to Eunice's chat and everybody in the chat talking. Hello.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I will have to finish this, and so I can a little bit translate what we were talking about. Some people don't speak English, so I would try to see how can I translate. So yeah, I will be your own translator for the next hour
Sure.
or something. Well, thank you so much again. I have to leave, and maybe you can keep with the other guys, okay?
Yeah, no worries. I know you're over across the globe from me. Have a good evening.
Thank you so much. Bye bye.
Bye.
طلع لي عاود وجهي هنايا. شباب كيجيتكم في لونجلي ناضي لاس قليله فاش كتخرج لي لونجلي راه كنكون كنهضر بلونجلي دابا كنفكر بلونجلي تخرج لي يمكن باش تخرج لي لونجلي كنبقى نخرب. المهم قادين بها غارب. هادشي اللي خصنا نوصلوا للشباب اللي طالعين كيعرفوا يهضروا احسن منا لونجلي قادر يدير احسن منا. فؤاد كيفاش نجواني بلاد الازرق مازال ما درنا والو فؤاد في الادسنس مازال خليني نبرش والله الا راني مازال مريض انت شد الدوايات راه انا خناشي ديال الدوايات مازال ما كاين والو. دخل الديسكور عندنا الا عندك فوكس دخل الديسكور ما عندكش فوكس خذ ليك فوكس ودخل الديسكور. ملي غنديسيديو تمايا كل واحد غيسيليكسيوني 5 من اللي كيعرفوا واش كنعرف انا شي فوكسات بالسميه وكذا وتلاقيتهم كاين اللي ما كنعرفوش كل واحد غيختار 5 ديالو. ناضي كناضي الله يحفظكم الله يحفظكم. شا دابا طالعين لي دومين دايز دبي بلا خصني نمشي وانا والله العظيم مازال حنا حاصل في هذا البرتغال او صدقنا ضيعنا دابا ديال لندن ما مشيناش صدقت مريض عندي واحد المشاكل في الوراق روينه صاحبي وغدا كاين داكشي الحمد لله اللي ايوب بعدا راه مشى. تحيه لخويا ايوب غدا نصوني عليه باش نشجعو ان شاء الله. شكرا خويا طنجي الناس ديال طنجه ثانك يو سو ماتش احفظك. المهم ما عرفت الصراحه هذا ديال دبي دابا راه عوالين عليا نعاود نمشي تمايا ولكن والله ما عرفت. دابا انا كنكون غادي مزيان ان فوا كيشوف عوينه هذا الشيء كيتقلب البروغرام. هو دابا يلاه خرجت بانت هاد التصويره هو دابا فكها معاه انت هي دابا تكون هاد التصويره خليناها مخبيه مشكل هذا. غنشوف هذا كنبدا قبل كنا كنشوفوا واحد السيتات فينا هو اوكي هادي انريتر. هذا هو السيت اللي كان كيولي قبيلات قال لك هو كيستخدموا باش كيدير الاوت بوند. انا عمرني ما خدمت بهذا السيت يلاه درتو قدامي باش نشوفو قلت غير نوريه لكم باش تعرفوا. هذا هو السيت اللي هو خدام به. هو برايسين ديالو $42 للشهر $47. انا قلت لها راه كنحاول ندير شي تول ديالي اللي عاودت لكم على هذيك النهار مازال. المهم قيد التفكير راه عمر لي دماغي بزاف ديال الحاجات خصني نقادهم من غير راكو عارفين الان اف تي زيد عليها الدومينات زيد عليها شحال كيقول لك دير انت كل شيء باغي تفهم في كل شيء ولكن الحمد لله الى انا بهذا الجهد شويه وقادر انني نصنع شي حاجه دري كيفيدكم. قدرت نفيد الناس في ان اف تي وفيد الناس عاود في الادسنس وكنفيد الناس في هادشي ديال الدومينات الحمد لله. يعني الدراري راه ممكن ديروا اكثر الا فوكسيتو راكو غديروا اكثر ان شاء الله. خويا الناس بليز شيك يور دي امز ماش لوف. واخا خويا الله يحفظك اخي عثمان ثانك يو. دونك انا كنت تقدروا ديروا اكثر الدراري زعما راه تهربوا عليا في هذا الشيء نتوما فهمتي. حنا كنديروا مجهودنا باش اننا نديكيو راسنا ونقدر داكشي اللي كنعرفوا ليه نوصلوا لكم. المهم بالنسبه للسيد نحاول حتى انا عييت خصني نمشي الدراري خصني نشرب الدواء ونمشي. بالنسبه للسيد راه هو المهم دوماينر هو داك اللي قلت لكم كان يا ربي شرا شنو هو باع AI.SI ب 25 مليون. هو اللي كان شرا هاد اجانتيك AI.com راه وصل ليه دابا شي 400 ولا 500 مليون مغربيه. يعني عنده بزاف ديال لي زوفر فيهم. وديال الله كنا كنديسكوتيو، كنا درنا حنا وياه واحد الاكسبيريمنت. كان قال لي بغى يفيريفي واحد 150 الف دومين كلمه واحده .com، وكان بغى لاكسي فهمتي. قال لي زعما دير معايا شي ثمن مزيان في دي انريتر. قال لي حتى هو التول الوحيده اللي كيتيق فيها. صافي عطيتو الاكسي وشاركنا حنا وياه داك البحث اونسومبل. وداك الشيء علاش عرض عليا في هذا الكول. قال لي ضروري خصنا نديروا شي حاجه اونسومبل. والشيء الاخر كان ان نحاول نترجموا فريلات، ندير لكم ليلات صغيره نترجموا. دابا باش نعاود نرجع ما بقيتش عاقل، هضرنا على بزاف د الحاجات ما بقيتش عاقل. دونك خصني يا نترجم لكم يا شي لعيبه، ولا حاولوا نتوما ديروا شي حاجه مترجمه. خويا الله يحفظك، خصني موقع البرومت قاسمي سيف. واخا خويا انا غنديبلوي والله لا حيت عيان ما ديبلويتش خير حاجه. انا غنديبلوي ونبارطاجيه معاك صافي. انا قلت راه زعما راه غتعرفوا تصنعوه نتوما راسكم. انا نحاول نديبلوي ونعطيه لكم باش تخدموه راسكم. اوكي نحاول ان شاء الله هاد السيمانه صافي. هاد السيمانه هذاك نديبلوي ونبارطاجيه معكم في ستوريات. فهمنا كل شيء ومزيان. المهم الدراري مش حال الفوكس ما عنديش شي فكره. قالك شحال الفوكس اخي ما عنديش. راه تهضر لشي واحد فوكس راه ما عنديش انا عند الدراري. دونك باش هما بغا يبيعوهم راه كيبيعوهم. هضرتي مع شي واحد يقدر يعطيها لك ب 10 دولار، شي واحد يبغي يبيعو لك ب 500 دولار. داك هو جماليه الان اف تي، كله كيبيع بالثمن اللي مسلكم. المهم الدراري ثانك يو فور واتشين. بغيتكم الدراري بدا شو كان الدراري مشاو تويتر كيديروا السيبور، وبغيتكم الدراري في انستغرام. راه عارفكم جيتوا اليوتيوب بغيتكم في انستغرام تعطوا لاطاك يعني الكومونتيرات وداك الشيء كثر في هذا الفيديو اللي درنا. وحيت باش كل مره نجيبوا شي ضيف اخر نستافدوا منه. انا كنتعلم وانتم كتعلموا. واخا صراحه اللغه المهم على قد الحال، ولكن تسمعوا افكار اخرى من غير الافكار ديالي كنظن حاجه مزيانه.
لا صاحبي والله الا ما نقدر نقيم
بصح
والله الا ما.
انا المهم كنشوف على قد العاده صافي هذه. وهذا ما كان. المهم بدا كيفهمونا دوك الاجانب كتهضر معاهم كيفهموا. ثانك يو فور واتشين الشباب. المهم شنو هذا الشيء خليت. المهم نعول عليكم في انستغرام واللايف ان شاء الله. اللايف ان شاء الله غيكون 3 ل 4 وندوزو شي الله اعلم للستيتات سيرفيس. ندوزو للستيتات الله اعلم. هو انستوبابل دومين. كنسى بلي راه عندي سبونسور صاحبي كاع كنسى. حتى كنسالي بيديك كنقول هاي جريو عليا ولا حتى كنسالي كنقول واحد صويره. المشكله مدباغ خصني نكحل هكا بالكرسي. نكحل هكا انتم هو سبونسور الدراري. لا غيجريو عليا اليوم، ما غيجريو عليا اليوم. ما يقول لي صافي. يلا الشباب السلام عليكم.